Here in video 8, we will now apply the future value formula or future value function to calculate how much money we would earn in a specified number of years at a certain interest rate, given that we start our savings account with $500 and every month we make a $100 payment. So in the previous video, we did a calculation of future value with just a starting amount, a lump sum as it's called, and we just left that same amount of money in there for a period of time. But now what we want to do is start with an amount of money, an initial lump sum or a principal amount, and then each month we're going to contribute or make a payment to our savings account, and then do some calculations here to see how much money we end up with over a period of time based on a certain interest rate. So very similar to what we did in video 6, but now what we will do is include the payment, PMT. Let's see how that will look. Start with that equal sign. FV for future value, and the parenthesis, and the first thing is the rate. So we are not going to type any numbers in directly, but we will click on the location for each of these variables. So we'll click on the rate. Now we provided this as an APR, and notice that we are calculating monthly, so we need to take that annual rate and divide it by 12 to convert it to a monthly rate. Separate that with a comma, and then notice that NPER is now in bold, so number of periods. And we need to calculate that based on 12 compounding periods per month and for 2 years here. So the way we're going to do that is to go ahead and click on the 12 times the number of years. So that's the number of periods, G11 times H11. Next is the payment. We skipped that last time when we were just working with the lump sum, and so now we are going to include that, so we'll click on that location. But before we do that, make sure that we make that a negative so that it will return a positive value as we discussed in previous videos. So now I'll click on payment, negative E11. Separate that with a comma. And because we do have a starting amount or a present value, we will go ahead and click on that, but that also will be negative. If we were starting at 0, no balance amount, no principal amount, we would just leave that and omit the PV. And then we'll enclose that with a right paren, enter, and we see that if we start with $500, make a payment of $100 every month for 2 years, earning 2% interest, we would have at the end of that 2 years accumulated $2,966.96 in our savings account. Let's try that one more time. Future value, convert that annual rate to a monthly rate, separate it with the comma, number of periods. Here we have 5 years this time, so that's going to be 12 times the location of that 5. We are now ready for the payment. It's going to be the negative sign and the location of our payment. Separate that by a comma and the present value amount that we have begun with, negative, click on the principal. So at 2% for 2 years, we had a balance of $2,966.96, and then an increase of 1% for 5 years. And so our savings account is growing. It's growing because of an increase in the interest rate and the amount of time that we have left our money in that savings account. Now, because we have utilized the location for all of our arguments or variables, then what we can do is that we can simply replicate this nice function for the rest of these. And we can do that by using this copy handle and just drag that right on down and check out the effect on all of these other variables here. So we've increased our interest rate starting at 2 and then getting all the way up to 12%, and then the number of years all the way up to 45 years. So for most of you, you'd be somewhere close to 60 years old. And so if you happen to have done this, started with $500, made a payment every month of $100, which really isn't that much money, and then if you were able to earn 12%, 45 years, you would have over $2 million in your savings account. So you can see the reason why we want to do this is that it's definitely a goal that you want to have for yourself. Start saving as soon as possible, because the sooner you start saving, the more money you're going to have, because this money grows and it compounds over time. The sooner you start, the more money you're going to end up with, because the money grows from year to year. And so time is your friend when you start investing money. So have me come by and look at these, and then we're going to conclude this for video 8, and then in video 9 we'll do some what-if analysis by changing some of our variables within our future value compound interest table.